While Tamara McLeod was out partying, having fun, I was staring at my twin's dead body.
Interrogation room on that day witnessed the killer with lowest possible IQ.
Where do you work?
I don't work anywhere, sir.
So where do you get your money?
I landscape and paint houses on the side.
So you work.
But she's not a naive person, as her devious story took place near an apartment complex parking lot in Cleveland, Ohio on the night of December 31st, 2021.
The night he was murdered, I felt sick. It was so much pain and dread. It came on so suddenly, I thought I had caught COVID.
Where at around 6:15 p.m., she brutally shot and killed an off-duty cop, Officer Bartek, thinking she is playing GTA Vice City in a parallel universe.
And like I said, we were just shooting a gun in the projects, yeah, because it was New Year's, you know?
Welcome back to my channel. I don't have many followers, but your single comment is a ray of hope for me. The officer traced the suspect with the help of surveillance footage and brought her in for interrogation on that particular day.
So, there was an unfortunate incident that took place, okay? So, before we get into it, you know, there's always two sides to every story.
Right.
All we're trying to do is get to the truth.
Yes.
So, somewhere in between these lines is where the truth lies.
Yes.
They're defining moments in our lives, too.
Yes.
Okay? This is one of those defining moments in your life.
The detectives are now using subtle manipulation to get McLeod to confess.
Yes.
Okay? There was a vehicle, a Mazda, that you gave to somebody this evening. Okay? The CX-5.
I gave it to somebody?
Yeah, the black one.
Right.
So you remember that car?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Yeah. Where do you get that at?
Somebody, you know, I rent a lot of cars for friends and stuff.
Where do you rent it at?
My friend, he, you know, I tell him, you know, I want to drive and I pay him weekly.
Who's your friend?
Detective Loomis begins with a calm approach, asking McLeod for basic information. The tone is friendly, almost conversational, as he sets the stage to make her feel comfortable. This tactic is designed to lull her into a false sense of security before the pressure intensifies.
His name is Sid.
Sid?
Yeah.
Cedric?
Yes.
Where did Cedric give you the car?
He gave me the car on 105 in St. Clair.
105 in St. Clair?
Yes.
And Cedric gave you that car?
Yes.
Is that your brother? What's your
It's
brother's
the friend.
What's your brother's name?
My brother name is Terrence.
Terrence?
Terrence Fletcher.
Is he still? You said was.
No, he's incarcerated, yeah.
Got it.
He's incarcerated.
So what's
Cedric's your friend?
Yeah.
what's his last name?
My brother?
No, Cedric.
I don't really know Cedric's last name. You know, like I say, it's a renting thing. I rent his place, and I rent cars and stuff from him and his friends and stuff, you know? And they're like, well, let's boost this
All right,
stuff.
so when did you rent the Mazda from?
I was supposed to get it tonight, but, you know, they said that they needed it back or whatever, so I hopped in with my friends.
You said you had the Mazda.
Right, and then, you know.
So when did you first get it?
I got the miles around about 7, 8, but they called me right back. They said that they needed it, you know, and they wanted to get some stuff out the trunk of the car. So I'm like, you know, whatever, cool. You know, it's New Year's.
Who's they?
He was with his friends. Like I said, I know Sid by Cedric Sid. You know, he was with a group of guys.
As McLeod begins talking about her stolen car, the detective shifts the focus subtly. He tells her that there are always two sides to every story, setting up the psychological tactic of splitting the difference. He wants her to feel like there's room for her to negotiate her narrative, but only if she tells the truth.
So, is it Tamara or Tamara? Tamara. Remember when I was talking about one of those defining moments in our lives?
Yes.
It's very important for you right now to be completely honest
Yes, sir.
with us about this situation.
I'm-
Because I'm going to lay it out for you, okay?
Can you please lay it out?
Oh, yeah, I'm good. So, at about 6:15 yesterday, a gentleman was walking to his vehicle. And he was approached by somebody who pulled a gun on him. And that person robbed him of his car. But not only did they rob him of his car, but they shot him with the revolver that they had and killed him.
Are we serious?
Do I look like I'm not being serious?
The detectives use McLeod's own words against her. She casually mentions how she was drinking and shooting guns for fun, almost as if it's no big deal. But the detective zeroes in on the moment that escalated the situation. He lays it out coldly, stating, "You robbed him and you shot him." The bluntness forces her to face the gravity of her actions.
So you need to get out in front of this. Look at my face.
I'm looking at you, son.
You need to get out in front of this, okay? Because you're in a tough spot. And right now, you need to help yourself.
Yes.
If this is something that just got out of control and you didn't mean for it to go as far as it did,
Right.
I will believe that, because I don't believe that the intent was to kill somebody. I believe the intent was to take somebody's vehicle, because maybe that's what you do. I don't know. I don't know you from Eve. I've never met you before in my
Listen,
life.
Yes, listen.
Hold on. Before you open your mouth and say something, I want you to think long and hard about what you're about to say.
Listen, sir. I don't know what's going on. I'm not the pitchy perfect type of female. I have a background and I'm on probation and everything for stuff. The one thing I'm not about is killing no officer.
Yeah, I don't think you meant to do it.
I don't know what you know, like you keep saying me, sir. I rent cars and stuff from people. Now it's New Year's. That car, the gun and everything, I got it to shoot, to try to beast in style.
Well, he was shot with the revolver.
Detective Loomis continues his psychological play, highlighting McLeod's lack of control over the situation. He doesn't accuse her directly of murder, yet. Instead, he focuses on the idea that things got out of control. By planting doubt about her intentions, he aims to manipulate her into seeing the shooting as an accident rather than a calculated act.
Okay.
Listen, sir.
I don't think you meant for this to happen.
Listen, I rent everything literally from them guys. Cars, clothes. That gun is not mine.
How do you rent it? What do you use to rent it?
Money. They get for
Where
money.
do you work?
I don't work anywhere, sir.
So where do you get your money?
I landscape and paint houses on the side.
So you work.
Yeah, basically, but it's not like no W-2
Well, you
or
still
anything.
work.
Yeah, but it's nothing like major. It's
Let me
something to
ask you
take care
this.
of myself.
Do you know how many cameras there are in the city? Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea how many surveillance cameras on buildings?
With every deflection McLeod makes, the detectives narrow in further. Loomis now brings up the cameras in the city, a strategic move to make her feel cornered. He doesn't accuse her, yet, but by mentioning the surveillance cameras, he plants the idea that they already have evidence, pushing her to consider confessing.
Apartment buildings, really good ones, too. It's not like the old junky ones where it's just a phase that you can't tell what's going on.
So what are you guys telling me? You have me on camera killing a police officer?
I just want you to understand
Just listen.
where we're at.
Yes.
Okay? I cannot go out this door and get to my house without being on 15 cameras, clearly.
Yes.
That's at a minimum.
Clearly. Right? Now I'm going to tell you something else. You ever heard of the Real-Time Crime Center? Those are cameras that the city of Cleveland puts up that have people watching them all the time.
So you guys are telling me you have me on camera robbing and killing a police officer?
The detectives use McLeod's fear against her. They tell her that cameras will capture everything, and there's no escaping the truth. This tactic plays on her fear of being caught, and is designed to make her feel powerless. By subtly suggesting she has no way out, the detectives manipulate her into thinking confession might be her only escape.
Listen. Let's just throw out the police officer aspect.
Anything.
Okay.
You guys have me on camera. I understand, yes. Yes, I got this shit from these guys. It's the new year. The fucking cars, the gun. Yeah, it was a go. They like, fuck it, sure. I do this on the regular. My financial having
So
custody.
you got the guns in the car from people that you don't know the name of?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
listen, you got to do better than that, kiddo.
Sir, I don't even know the guy you have in custody. I don't know his name.
Oh, Well, he knew yours.
Yeah, he's a friend of Sid's. I'm in Sid's apartment.
Well, how do you know who he is then?
No, I don't. Sid is that's the Sid friend.
How do you know who had the car?
You have no idea.
Listen, I got the car from them.
From who?
Sid and his friends.
Well, then how did his friend get back into it?
They asked me to get something out of the trunk of one of the cars I had. That's why y'all seen all the keys.
Where did that happen?
This happened
Because
all over.
listen, and I'm telling you the truth.
McLeod begins to show signs of cracking. The psychological pressure is mounting as the detectives imply they believe the shooting was not intentional, but rather a panic-driven mistake. Loomis tells her this is one of those defining moments in your life. He knows the key to her confession lies in convincing her that acknowledging the panic can mitigate the severity of the crime.
I'm willing to work for you. You tell me where this happened, where this Trump thing happened, and we'll go investigate that. We'll go prove one way or the other with the cameras down there. But understand this. We're going to get to the truth. Everything that you tell us, we're going to check up.
Yes.
All right?
It's a lot of cars involved. I was supposed to rent a car. You know, I don't even have any cash on me because I actually paid my money. I even gave my friend up in the truck having custody. We hopped in with each other to go bar hop. I get cars from Sid and his friends all the time.
So the two other girls that are here were in that car with you?
No.
No. So let's get back to. You're losing me, or you're trying to confuse me. I'm an old guy.
Sir, and you guys are confusing me. Shit.
I'm not trying to.
Yes.
All right. Where did you get that car?
I got that car from Sid's friend.
When?
It was about 7, 8 o'clock.
As McLeod continues to talk, the detective uses subtle psychological pressure, suggesting that she needs to come to grips with the reality of what happened that night. By asking if she understands, he's trying to break through her deflections, guiding her toward admitting the truth without accusing her directly.
So, that's when you got the Mazda.
Right.
But where did you go?
I had went literally around the corner, like spent the bin. I was finna go to my little apartment and change my clothes and stuff. Because you know I wanted to go out. He called me back and I never seen him again. I've been texting him and shit. He said he needed something out the trunk, but like I said, I go in at a certain time.
All right, so let's just back up. Listen, I want to explain something to you, okay?
Yes, sir.
I want you to listen to me carefully. How old are you?
I'm 18 years old.
You're 18 years old.
You have any kids?
No.
No? Okay.
We've been doing this a long time.
Yes, sir.
All right. We've never met, right?
Yes.
I don't know you.
Right.
I don't know what kind of person you are. But I want to explain to you the difference between something that just got out of hand and went south and you didn't mean for it to happen, as opposed to intentionally doing what occurred.
Instead of directly accusing McLeod, Detective Loomis starts planting the idea that she might not have meant to kill the officer. This psychological tactic helps her feel like there's room to negotiate her story, easing the guilt she's starting to feel. Loomis knows that pushing her to see the incident as an accident could make her more likely to confess.
One potentially carries the death penalty, as opposed to the other saying, listen, I didn't mean for that to happen. I panicked, things got out of control.
Listen, sir.
You listen to me for a minute, okay? You're 18 years old. You've got your whole life to think of here. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Do you want to spend the rest of your living days
No.
behind bars?
No.
Do you ever want an opportunity to walk these streets again?
Yes.
Then what you need to do is you need to come to grips with what happened tonight. You understand me?
Yes.
Look at me.
Sir,
You need to come to grips with what took place tonight.
listen.
Be it an accident, I don't think you intended to kill him.
Listen, sir. Was I on camera killing anybody today?
McLeod begins to show resistance, questioning whether she's on camera. The detective calmly reinforces the idea that the truth is already out there, mentioning how they have her face on multiple cameras. This tactic forces McLeod to confront the overwhelming evidence against her and subtly nudges her toward confessing.
You know what you just said to me a minute ago? You just said that you bent the corner and he started blowing you up, and that was the last time you seen him. You didn't see him again.
Yes.
And then you told us those phones in the car aren't yours. So how's he blowing you up?
Because I have my friend phone.
Which friend?
Diane. They're telling me that he's calling.
So Diane's phone is one of those phones we got out of the car?
Maybe, because she has her phone, yeah.
Okay.
Like I
So
said,
we're going to see calls from your boy calling you, blowing you up at 7 o'clock at night.
No, listen, that's not my phone. My roommates, listen, let me tell you all the story.
The detective's move to suggest that McLeod may not have intended to kill Bartek is a classic example of the foot-in-the-door technique. By starting with the idea that it could be an accident, Loomis is getting McLeod to agree to the smaller statement, that things got out of control. Once she accepts that, it's easier for her to admit to a crime of impulse rather than premeditation, lowering the stakes psychologically and making it easier for her to admit the truth.
You understand, like,
Don't dig yourself into it.
and I'm not.
Just relax.
Just listen for a second, okay? Listen to these times that I throw out. All right. So around 6:15, this incident occurs.
Yes.
Okay. Around 6:20, maybe 6:21, exact. Cedric messages somebody and said, "My sister got a Mazda to trade for the car."
All right.
Sound right?
Listen, sir.
And then they're told to meet down on 40th. Right?
Right.
Okay. So you had the Mazda at that point at 6:20, 6:21.
Detective Loomis builds psychological pressure by methodically laying out the timeline of events. This is part of the anchoring effect. By asking her about the Mazda and other details, he anchors her thoughts in the facts of the case. McLeod is now forced to match her memories with the detective's narrative, subtly manipulating her perception of the situation. This psychological tactic forces her to focus on the truth he's presenting, making it more difficult for her to maintain the lie.
Right? So before you're digging, man, and I don't want you to dig.
And it's me.
Don't dig yourself into a death penalty.
All right? Let me tell you
You
this.
understand?
Let me tell you this.
Don't do that.
That gentleman was shot with a revolver.
And yes,
The bullet is still in him. So we are going to have the bullet.
yes.
Is that going to match the bullet that comes out of that one of those guns that we got out of your car? The car that you were in?
Listen, like I say,
Is it?
maybe.
Yep. Maybe.
This not my gun. Shit, I just got the motherfucker tonight.
What do you mean it's not your gun?
It's not. Can't buy guns or anything. I'm 18 years old.
Where'd you get the gun from?
I got it from San Fred, the one who got caught with the car. We traded everything.
Why would he give you his gun?
The detective skillfully uses McLeod's story about where she got the gun to her disadvantage. He continuously asks her about it, pressing for details and exploiting her defensiveness. Loomis isn't focused on the gun's ownership. He's more interested in her actions with it, shifting the narrative to her responsibility rather than the weapon itself.
6 minutes after this guy was shot, you had the vehicle. Okay. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. Don't bury yourself into a death penalty case. Okay? Don't do that. I don't think...
I'm a little intoxicated
I
tonight.
get it. I don't think
I honestly, listen.
I don't think you meant for this to happen.
The detective continues to pressure McLeod with the idea that she didn't set out to kill anyone. By focusing on the fact that she's not the type of person who would intentionally take a life, Loomis aims to reduce her anxiety and fear of the consequences. He wants her to feel that admitting to an accident is her best option.
You gave him the Mazda.
Listen, I came out of the green car to get in the blue Jetta. Like that Mazda, like I never drove this Mazda.
You just
Well, you just said you did.
Listen, one time though, like,
Well, you drove it then.
but like I didn't drive it from no. Where did this man even get shot at? Like on 40th? Like. This is a bit much.
Let me explain to you about touch DNA.
Yes, please.
All right. And we're going to ask you to submit to a DNA sample voluntarily if you want. If not, we're going to get a search warrant and we'll get it from you.
As Loomis introduces the possibility of DNA evidence, he uses fear of consequences once more, this time leveraging the inevitability of science. By reassuring her that DNA can't be manipulated or denied, he's pushing McLeod to realize that her best option is to confess before the truth is exposed. This tactic plays on her fear of the irreversible consequences of being caught, encouraging her to save face by owning up to her actions before the evidence seals her fate.
Okay, so we're going to get your DNA one way or the other. And I'm not, I'm just telling you that's going to happen.
So my DNA is on this man.
We're going to find out. We'll find out if your DNA is in the car.
Yes,
I
I was in
find out if
that
that
car.
DNA is in that gun.
Yes, I just shot that gun in the
Okay.
projects. Me and my friend
There
both.
was a struggle between the victim and
A struggle. I'm 5'3", a woman at that. I can't struggle with nobody. Like I told the officer, you're kicking my ass and shit. I'm intoxicated and shit. It's
Well,
nothing I can do.
As McLeod contemplates her fate, Detective Loomis introduces the DNA sample request. This is a classic tactic used to create psychological pressure. The knowledge that they already have physical evidence is a powerful motivator. By subtly making her feel that refusing the DNA would only make things worse, Loomis is increasing the pressure for McLeod to comply and ultimately admit her guilt.
Maybe, we're not saying that you physically attacked this guy. Maybe he was trying to disarm you. Maybe he was trying to grab that gun away from you, and you got away, and when you pulled away, the gun went off. That's what we're trying to tell you. We don't think that you went up there to kill that guy and take his shit.
I don't think that's what you did.
All right? We think you went up there to rob that guy.
It was
And
just,
he came after you to get the gun out of your hand because you're a 5'4" female, which, by the way, is the exact same height. The exact same height. You know how we found that out?
The emotional weight of the situation finally hits McLeod as the detective discusses the potential consequences. She realizes that leniency is unlikely. The detective uses empathy to try to soften the blow, framing her actions as a series of bad decisions rather than an intentional murder. This creates an internal conflict for McLeod. Her remorse is palpable, but the detective is feeding her a way to mitigate the consequences.
We can get DNA off of his clothes. How are you going to explain that?
so it either goes one of two ways, okay? Either you intentionally meant to kill this person, or things got out of control, you didn't mean for the gun to go off, and you didn't even know you shot him until you're sitting down here. You understand what I'm saying? Do you see the difference in those scenarios? You understand? You don't want to put yourself in this first scenario. Okay? Because that's just a really bad scenario to be in. The second one is more plausible.
McLeod opens up more as the interrogation continues. The detective uses subtle manipulation, suggesting that McLeod could have the opportunity for a lighter sentence if she takes responsibility. By offering the possibility of a reduced sentence, Loomis is playing on McLeod's desire to minimize the impact of her actions. This tactic helps the detective shift her focus from the harsh reality of the crime to the potential for redemption.
So is that what happened? It just got out of control? And I'm sorry that happened to you.
Sorry, it happened to you.
I don't believe that you meant to do it. I don't even think you probably didn't know until the police stopped you that he was getting shot. Did you?
No.
So what happened?
My friends left me over there. You got to work with.
These girls?
No, some other girls.
You just needed a ride home.
I don't know what was in North State. No one really give me no ride.
As McLeod discusses her actions after the shooting, the detective continues to ask for details. This isn't just about the facts. It's about making her relive the incident, which is a psychological strategy to weaken her resistance. By forcing her to recall her movements, Loomis is deepening the emotional impact of the crime, making it harder for McLeod to deny her involvement.
This is like life in fucking prison.
This is what we're trying to talk to you about. The difference between what your intent was. You understand what I'm saying? I'm sorry?
It was not, you had to kill that man.
So what happened? What led up to that? Besides your friends not dropping you off, you needed a ride. You see him come up, walking out into the parking lot. You just wanted to jack him. You wanted to get his keys.
Just walk us through it.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I don't remember what I said
You
to
tell him
him.
to take his shoes off?
At this point, McLeod is beginning to crack under the weight of the evidence. Loomis subtly reassures her that he doesn't think she meant to kill the officer. This tactic, which appeals to cognitive dissonance, creates a shift in McLeod's mindset. She now sees her actions as part of a series of poor decisions rather than a deliberate attempt to end someone's life.
What was going on? What was being said?
I was scared. Because I really don't remember. I was just up it. The city was a bad. I know I can't think of bad. I didn't mean to kill one of them. This shit is like embarrassing. Like, this shit probably go on fucking news. This shit
Listen,
is like,
you don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, don't even worry about that.
I'm about to spend the rest of my life in prison.
Not
The
just
rest of my life. This shit is, you know, black persecutor, police officer.
It has nothing to do with black and white.
The detective now makes McLeod feel like she's already made a major step by cooperating. This approach taps into the psychological principle of social proof, showing McLeod that confessing and taking responsibility will make her seem more human in the eyes of others, especially jurors and prosecutors. The detective emphasizes how prosecutors and juries take cooperation into consideration, suggesting that her honesty could work in her favor.
There's nothing to do with that. Did he tell you he was a police officer? Did he say, what are you doing? I'm the police.
All right, so how would you know?
What did he say to you?
Like I said, I don't remember. I just was trying to get the keys.
Where were the keys?
I think he handed them to me.
He handed them to you.
So when you were running back to his vehicle, what did you drop? You had to turn around and go back. Yeah.
His phone
His phone? Where's his phone?
should be in that car.
Should be in the car. The black car.
By the time McLeod is asked about calling her mother, the interrogation has shifted from pressing for details to subtly guiding McLeod toward a more introspective, remorseful state. Loomis is creating a psychological safe space, allowing McLeod to connect emotionally with her loved ones and reflect on the consequences of her actions. This approach helps her prepare mentally for what comes next, her eventual acceptance of responsibility.
Listen, Detective Loomis had made mention about asking you to submit to a DNA swab. Now, you have a constitutional right to refuse that, which is your right, or you can. I mean, we'll come back tomorrow with a search warrant for it. You don't give us permission, so it's your choice. Either way, okay?
You guys the fucking called my mother one time.
We'll take care of that.
You know what? I will let you do that before we part ways.
Okay?
As the interrogation wraps up, the detective emphasizes McLeod's age and her future. This tactic focuses on fear of wasted potential, making her confront the idea that her entire life could be consumed by the consequences of her actions. Loomis continues to suggest that showing remorse will benefit her in the long run, playing on her hope for eventual parole.
So, going to prison for the rest of my life.
No, I wouldn't say the rest of your life. I wouldn't do that. I mean, you got to understand something. All we are presenters of facts, okay? That's it. We're not here to judge you. I still don't judge you. Okay? That's, What happens from here on out is up to your attorneys and the courts, okay? It's out of our hands once it goes to them. We have no further involvement, okay?
In the final moments, McLeod is fully aware of the gravity of her situation. Loomis continues to provide a semblance of hope, but it's clear that McLeod is now facing the reality of her actions. The detective's psychological tactics have brought her to a place where she can no longer deny the severity of what she's done, setting the stage for the legal consequences she will soon face.
We don't have a say as to what the punishment is or anything like that. Okay? That's what people need. I think people have a misconception sometimes.
Yeah, that's
Because
TV.
that's, yeah.
It's TV.
I have to warn you, like, this shit is high profile.
So listen, when we talk to the prosecutor, we are going to tell the prosecutor that you're obviously remorseful, that you were cooperative. Huh?
It's leaking, it
I
has
think
a
it
hole.
is. Oh, I didn't do that.
That's why I was worried about your paper
I
and
didn't
stuff.
do that on purpose. I don't know why it's got hole. But we're going to tell the prosecutor that you were cooperative with us, and that, obviously you're remorseful. I don't think that you're acting right now.
As McLeod is charged with aggravated murder, felonious assault, and robbery, the detective's psychological manipulation comes full circle. While McLeod will eventually be able to apply for parole, it's likely that the psychological toll of the situation will stay with her for the rest of her life. The detective's strategy has worked. He's led her to confront the truth of her actions, leaving her to face the consequences head-on.
Tonight, the woman who shot Officer Shane Bartek will spend 54 years to life in prison.
Tamara McLeod was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of off-duty Officer Shane Bartek.
This is the video that was played during the trial and during Tuesday's sentencing. A video showing the moment Tamara McLeod murdered off-duty Cleveland police officer Shane Bartek.
The night he was murdered, I felt sick. It was so much pain and dread. It came on so suddenly, I thought I had caught COVID, till I realized Shane was gone.
Shane's twin sister, Summer, shared in court her profound loss and the devastation of not being able to share another birthday with him.
While Tamara McLeod was out partying, having fun, I was staring at my twin's dead body. We couldn't touch him. We only could look. His body was evidence. The agony to see him there and not be able to hold his hand or kiss his forehead.
McLeod did go out and party after killing the 25-year-old, never calling for help, leaving him to die on New Year's Eve.
Shane died alone, cold and wet in between cars. And he deserves so much better than that.
Just 2 months before the shooting, the 17-year-old was placed on probation for robbery in Lorraine County. 5 days later, she had a vicious crime spree in Cuyahoga County.
Although she was charged with aggravated murder, felonious assault, aggravated robbery, grand theft, and having weapons under disability, she was acquitted of an additional aggravated murder charge.
She was basically turned back on the streets of our community with no punishment.
McLeod sat back in her chair with no remorse. Her mom says her daughter has been troubled.
Something is wrong with her. She didn't just up and wake up and say she's going to kill somebody.
But she did, and the video shows it. McLeod will get 54 years to life for her crime sprees and Shane's murder. But it would be the fallen officer's family that spares the 18-year-old of a death sentence.
We're Christian, and we just feel that we don't want to do that.
And what the Bartek family wants to do now, grieve, live, and find happiness without their Shane. His sister shares the words he loved best.
He would say, strive for greatness, because that's the Bartek way.
The sentence included the possibility of parole. However, due to the consecutive penalties for her crimes, McLeod will most likely be eligible to apply for parole only when she is in her 70s.